Hello everyone, this is G and I'm back with a new video. It's a nice, cool, chilly day here in New York City. It's November 4th. I don't think the results have officially come in from the elections yet. Not that I'm particularly interested. Right, but this is not a video about Chelsea Handler or anything like that. Hopefully, once the elections are finally decided, all of that silliness can be put to bed. But what I wanted to talk about today is something near and dear to my heart. Something that has been a very large part of my identity, although it's not something, interestingly enough, that I discuss a lot on this channel, which is these video games, right? Now, I know this is very old. This is the original Fatal Fury for the Sega Genesis, so as one can probably tell, I go way, way, way back. Genesis for life. Right, I got some Genesis here. Streets of Rage, the original Streets of Rage. I had Streets of Rage 2 and 3. And then craziness happened to me last year, and sadly I ended up losing most of my possessions, including most of my gaming collection, so there's very little of it left, but I've got Eternal Champions, aka a discount Mortal Kombat, which was still very fun for its day, but incredibly difficult. Oh my god, that game is so difficult. And then, of course, you have Mortal Kombat 2. I also have the original MK somewhere in my closet. And, of course, Sonic 2. So, aside from just humble bragging, right, I show those off to demonstrate that gaming has always been a part of me. It is as much a part of my identity as my gender, my ethnicity, my hometown, my faith, and everything else. You don't have Gene Gentry if Gene Gentry is not a gamer, right? It's simply that. Now, I started gaming at the age of 4 years old. Right, very first system that I ever had, or rather, really, my mother had, right, was the NES, right, the Nintendo Entertainment System. We had the Super Mario 3-pack, right. So I had Super Mario Brothers that had Duck Hunt, which I loved. I hated Super Mario Brothers. I hate platform games to this day because of that game. I could never beat the 8th level. I couldn't make that jump, damn it. Level 8-3. I hate you. But it had uh, Super Mario Brothers, Duck Hunt, and an international track and field, right? It had this like this large, I guess you would say these days DDR style pad that you would put on the floor and you would run on it. And good, fun, happy times were had by all at that time, right? And I've been gaming since then, right? There was the Genesis, which for me is probably my favorite video game system. I will say the best one, I think, was the PS2, right? But for me, the most fun and the one that's near and dear to my heart is the Sega Genesis. Then there was PlayStation, PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3, and some PS4, but that's more of my brother. I've been out of mainstream gaming for probably about a decade or so now, because, adulthood and gaming isn't what it used to be. And I will admit, I am very much stuck in time, right? When it comes to video games, I'm not very impressed with modern video games for the most part. I'd much rather play this than to play Mortal Kombat 11 any day of the week or any game in the reboot franchise, quite frankly. But that's a topic for a different day. I think I've made my grievances about Mortal Kombat 11 perfectly clear, though believe me, that Melina video is coming. I'm just behind on a lot of things. But the reason why I bring up all this is because there is apparently some gaming comedy coming out starring Ellen Page and Paris Berelek. I don't know how you say her name. Some gaming comedy called One Up. That's apparently from BuzzFeed Studios, which means that there's certainly not going to be an agenda, right? They're going to take a nuanced approach to video games and how women have been a part of video games, right? And how women fit and exist in the gamer space. They're totes going to make this what I'm looking for, nuanced portrait, right, of a woman in a predominantly male space. It'll totally, be respectful of the issues, the challenges, and the ups and downs on both sides. But anyway, right? The article from Variety says here that Ellen Page and Paris Berlick, I don't know, have boarded comedy gaming one up with Kyle Newman directing in what could be the first feature film for BuzzFeed Studios. Now, here's where I immediately get ticked off with this, as it's described here. Berlick will portray a gamer who quits her college esports team due to sexism from her male counterparts. First of all, it is just so trash and so cliche to have it be sexism from her male counterparts. What type of sexism? What did they say? What did they do? Right? Number one. Number two, she quits her college esports team due to this supposed sexism. Let me explain to you how bad this is. Right? What I take issue with this is that it's immediately starting from a position of weakness. For example, imagine if you were watching the I'll Make a Mad of You sequence from Mulan. And by that I mean the animated version, not that remake trash, okay? Even the Chinese hate it. So we're not talking about the live action remake, we are talking about the original Disney 1998 film, right? So imagine you have the part, right, where Shang brings the horse and he literally tells him, right, tells Ping, you're unsuited for the rage of war. Go pack up, go home. Yeah, pack up, go home. You're through. There we go. How could I make a mad of you, right? So imagine that if instead of trying that one last time, right, spending hours upon hours, no doubt, trying to take the weights and tie them around the pole and haul herself up until she's finally sitting on top, right, staring down at Shang, throwing the arrow down and everything. Imagine that if she had taken his word for it and just said, you know what, he's right. He's right. I can't take this. I can't do this. I failed at everything. I'm going home. I'm taking my horse and I'm going back home. First of all, your movie ends right there. Second, you would not respect Mulan as a heroine, right? What makes her likable, right, and what makes you root for her is that even when she encounters what is supposedly this unconquerable obstacle, remember, no one at that point in the film had climbed the pole, right? That was the impossible challenge, having to climb the pole and go get the arrow and be weighed down by those two heavy talons or weights, whatever they were, right? I think Shang even says like one of them represents courage, the other represents discipline or something to that effect, right? That was the one challenge that neither a man or a woman, but of course no one knew that there was a woman in the camp at the time, right? But that was a challenge that none of the trainees had been able to pass. So imagine if she had just walked away at that point, right? Nobody, most likely, would have tried again. Because it's only after she does that that everybody else then afterwards starts to improve, right? Because now they have that example. It's like if the weakest person in our team can do this, then what can we do? Imagine what we could do. If Weakling Ping can actually do this, oh my god, what could all of us do if we just tried one more time, right? That's what makes it so inspirational. That in the face of what seems to be an impossible challenge, she does not give up. She gives it that one final effort and she succeeds. It is a position of strength, right? Strength in adversity, showing that, hey, you can be male or female, right? Don't give up. Don't let this thing intimidate you. Continue to try to get past this until you get past it. So for me, as a female gamer, right? I just see myself as a gamer, but if I'm a girl gamer or a female gamer, so fine, whatever, right? But to me, right, having her start out as a quitter, is incredibly insulting, especially as a woman. Because let me tell y'all personally. Now I know everything that I'm gonna say is anecdotal, but I do believe that there's a fair amount of women watching this video and probably in other places who can relate, or even if you're not female, right, you might be able to relate in some fashion. When you're the only, how do I put it? When you're the other in the group, right? When you're the only X, whatever it is, woman, man, black, white, Asian, whatever it is, right? You're gonna stand out like a sore thumb because you're not like everybody else. Everything about you stands out. You're the exception to every rule. And as someone who's been the exception to every rule, as someone who's been the one sole woman, or the one sole black person, or the one sole black woman, right, in a group, whether it be in video games or watching a pro wrestling match or playing basketball or fencing or whatever it was. Although the fencing was a bit more unisex, but still there were more boys in the class than there were girls. And on top of that, most of the girls didn't want to aggressively fence, right? They didn't want to go at it. They just wanted to just do whatever they had to do to pass, And I was there to compete. I wanted competition, so I was always fencing most of the time with the guys. And our teacher, it's actually first it was one person. It was a black woman. I forget her name. First one was Gladys. I forget what her last name was. And no, it wasn't Knight. It wasn't Gladys Knight. Don't make that joke. But then later on, after she retired, it was a white guy. Unfortunately, it's been like 20 years. I don't remember their names, but the class was very fun. We even had a fencing team, but my mother wouldn't let me join. Shadish. Still shad. But I did, as a graduation present to myself, beat one of the guys on the fencing team. So that was fun. But anyway, right, the reason I bring all this up, right, is the fact that as someone who's been the odd person out for most of my life in these things, especially back, you have to remember, I was a teenager. I grew up in the 1990s, right? Seeing a female wrestling fan or a female gamer is not as odd now, but it was fairly uncommon back then, right? So I was always the odd kid, right? I never fit in with the girls because I was too rowdy, and even though I fit in better with the boys, it was better. I was certainly much more comfortable there to this day. Still more comfortable in a male space than a female one. But even the guys initially at first, it's like, a girl? Like, it's a girl, right? It's like, oh my god, what is she doing here? Right? So I've had to prove myself, right? And prove that, hey, I belong here too. And the way you do that, in my experience, is by not giving up. It's by not walking away. Right? You have to demonstrate that you're passionate about it. That you're just as passionate, if not more passionate, than they are. Did I have people say dumb stuff to me or about me? Yes. You know what I did? We played whatever game it was, maybe some Street Fighter, maybe some Capcom versus SNK, Mortal Kombat, whatever, and I kicked ass. That's what I did. I kicked ass, and it got me respect. And then once I got enough respect and people realized, oh, she's serious about this, then no one cared about my gender anymore, and I was fully accepted. But you know what I didn't do? I didn't walk away. I didn't let a guy's rude comment. Just to be clear, it wasn't always. Most of the guys I encountered during those years when I was in the Gamers Club, which was a student club in college, were very nice, right? But you come across a tool here and there, as you often will in life, right? And in my case, when I encountered that particular jerk or two, I demonstrated that, hey, I belong here. I was here before you got here, buddy boy. I'm gonna kick your ass with Ken and Street Fighter and then see what you say. And that earned me the respect that I deserved, right? You can't run away, in my experience at least. You can't run away when someone challenges you, right? Or challenges your worth or value to be in a certain space. oh, you should leave. You're a girl and girls don't do this. No, I don't care if I'm a girl. I'm a girl who does this, and you ain't stopping me. So anyway, so there's that. So that's the first thing that ticks me off, right? Then it says to keep her scholarship. I'm wondering what school she's going to because I don't know of any school in New York, at least, that gives out a scholarship for esports gaming. It's not like it's not the same as like college football or college basketball or anything of that sort. I know that you might be able to get a stipend or maybe a scholarship for like STEM. Those who may not be familiar, STEM or STEM majors are that STEM stands for science, technology, engineering, math. Actually, my one official college degree, which is an associate degree, is actually in a STEM field. I majored in web design. So officially, my degree is in new media technology, more or less web design. Not that I actually went into web design for a profession. Life took me in a different direction, but at the time, what I wanted to do was that I wanted to get into video games. Right, magazines were dying out, so my first idea of writing video game articles, I was like, well, I can't do that. All of the gaming magazine companies are crashing, so I thought, hey, I'll make websites and get in that way, which I tried. Didn't happen. Life took me in a different direction, but I don't regret majoring in that because I learned a lot. I learned a lot. I learned that I am not a. I would never make it as a programmer because I don't have the patience. I hate Visual Basic with a passion. But I always look back on my college years, especially the first time I went to college. I've been to college several times since. Oh, going to college when you're older and have no patience for financial aid is so difficult. But anyway, I always look back on my college years in my early 20s fondly because it was where I met some of my closest and best friends, especially at that time when you're young, you're an adult. Not that you know what the hell that means at 20 years old. And a lot of the friends that I made at that time, male and female, but I will say predominantly male, were in that gamers club because once I earned their respect and they saw, hey, this girl's as passionate about video games as I am, or she's as passionate about anime and manga as I am, I was accepted. People didn't ask me to change like I've experienced in trying to fit in female spaces, right? But anyway, back to the article. I don't know about a scholarship, right, for esports. Might be in STEM. I know that the college I work for now, a few years ago, they started like a visual design program major under the humanities department, actually for people who are interested into getting into the gaming industry. So maybe that, right? But I don't know of, at least not in New York City or in New York State, of any esports scholarship. So I don't know what all that's about. But it says here to keep her scholarship, she's forced to assemble an all-female team and enlist the help of a coach, portrayed by Paige, who has a gaming scandal in her past. First of all, I don't know of any gaming scandal that's so big that you would be shamed. So I don't quite, that whole gaming scandal in her past, I don't quite, what, did she cheat at a tournament or something? What happened? And then it says here she's forced to assemble an all female team. Well, I'm wondering if it's truly going to be all women, or they're going to have like the one obligatory gay guy who is so feminine he might as well be an honorary woman, right? But an all female team, right? All female team. As if women cannot be catty and frankly bitchy in their own right, right? It's just, I just find this idea, right? At least the way they're presenting it. I don't think there's anything wrong in and of itself of telling a story about a woman, trying to fit into this space and she runs into some adversity or whatever, and then showing her overcome it. I don't mind that. But when you have this narrative, just this divisive narrative of, oh, the evil male gamers ran her out, right? They shamed her out with sexism, and she quit. And then she gets an all-female team together, as if women don't bully each other, as if women can't be bullies. Have you been to high school? Have you seen Heathers, the film or the musical or both? Women can certainly be bullies, right? Girls who are in gaming can be bullies, unfortunately. Because bullying is not a guy thing or a girl thing, it's a crappy human thing. It's not relegated to one gender or the other. She's in no better place, in my opinion, by being in an all-female group. Now, maybe that's just my own biases talking, because I'm not terribly comfortable in all-female spaces, like I've always joked. But it's not exactly a joke. But I was like, you can't send me to an all-girls school because I'll die there. Like my personal definition of hell is to be sent to an all-girls school. I cannot deal with that. I need boys around. I need guys I can talk to, guys I can look at. I can't take it. But that's just me. But this whole idea of like, oh, she joins a pack of girls and they're gonna beat the boys, and it's like, no. All she's done, in my opinion, is just trade one group of people who she feels are mean to her for another group of people who could potentially be mean to her. Women can be just as cruel and callous, I should say, as men can be. They can be bullies just like guys can be. No gender is better or worse than the other in this regard. And in my opinion, I mean, coming at this from a female gaming perspective, I look at this and I see, okay, well, the very first problem is that this girl has no backbone. She doesn't know how to talk back. She doesn't know how to put people in their place. She doesn't know how to deal with people challenging her. Guess what? People are going to challenge you in life. People are going to challenge your right to do a certain thing, say a certain thing, right? Be a certain thing. And you need to meet that challenge in some fashion. Let me tell you this much. You know how you don't need a challenge? You know how you prove that you can't handle it? Especially if you're going to be in this very competitive, male-dominated space where, yeah, they aren't going to care too much about your fifis. It's by walking away. It's by running, right? Again, it starts out from this position of weakness. So why would I, as someone who was in a gamer club, and a pro wrestling club and a bunch of other things. Well, pro wrestling web radio show, I should say, hosted by three women. But we did get to interview Mr. Fuji, so take that. But anyway, right? How would any woman survive being in a male-dominated space as a cop, as a pro wrestler, as a gamer, as anything where men tend to be the dominant group? How is any woman supposed to survive and thrive in a male-dominated space when they get challenged or called out or whatever? How are they supposed to thrive if the message you're going to put in this movie, which of course I would imagine that most of the people who are going to watch this don't play video games, right? So how do you expect these people, one, to have a proper understanding of gamer culture and how women are treated in gamer culture? And number two, how do you expect to teach a woman or a man or anyone else how to deal with adversity if the first sign of adversity she runs away, right? It's like when I heard about this thing, I'm like, this kind of sounds like Bully Hunters. That whole fiasco from like a year or two ago, right? And look, do I think that this thing's going to make any money? No. It's BuzzFeed. BuzzFeed's dying as it is, right? But again, it just feeds into more anti-gamer rhetoric. It doesn't help people who are not gamers understand gamers or gaming culture, or especially competitive gaming culture. We're talking about esports. It's competitive, right? There's a certain attitude you're going to find there. And yeah, that attitude is going to have trash talk. It's going to be aggressive, just like any other competitive sport, whether it's professional wrestling, whether it's basketball, fencing, football, anything else. Competitiveness, right, by its very nature, has an aggressive element to it, and part of that aggression is in trash talk, is in insults. If you cannot handle that, you are in the wrong space, right? You don't have to be a gamer and be into esports. I'm not into esports. I don't do a lot of, online gaming. I don't do any online gaming. Especially these days, I prefer to, just single player type games, right? Stuff like that. And that's fine. That's fine. I'm very much old school where, for me, like, gaming, people gaming, right? Multiple people around is, people sitting on the floor in front of the couch, passing the controller around, right? I'm still stuck in that mindset. I'm not a big fan of online gaming, but that's fine. I don't have to be a fan of it. Doesn't mean I'm going to denigrate it. It's just not for me. But as somebody who grew up playing fighting games and just grew up with the love of competition, right? I can tell you that with any sort of competition, I don't care whether it's the NBA Finals or the Bachelorette, right? There's going to be an element of aggressiveness there, and there's going to be an element of insults and trash talk, and if you can't handle that, then you need to find a space that's more comfortable for you. You shouldn't be expecting people in this aggressive, competitive space, and who exist well in this space, who have made it so that, hey, we can get along, and we get along well, we understand it's just trash talk, and you don't take it seriously, right? They're not going to change on your account. Like if I'm playing Street Fighter against somebody and you're doing horrible, and I'm just whooping your butt from here to Sunday, yes, I'm making fun of you. Unless you are like really young or like you've never played this game a day in your life, yes, I'm making fun of you. Yes, I'm gonna do that. Because it's called trash talk. And if you can't handle it, don't play against me, because I'm not gonna spare you. But anyway, right, it says here that the script is written by Julia Yorks, right, and that BuzzFeed's Richard Allen Reed is producing along with Michael Phillip and Jason Mooring. Production is expected to begin in Toronto in November, right? And then it goes on to state that Ellen Page stars in the Netflix series Umbrella Academy, and that she was nominated for an Academy Award for Juno, and she has credits on other films such as Inception, and she apparently played Kitty Pryde in some of the X-Men films or whatever. Apparently, she did voice and mocap work for Judy Holmes in Beyond Two Souls. Never played it, not familiar with it. Right? But here's the thing. So, given that this script is written by Julia Yorks, I decided to look up Miss Yorks. Now, here's her biography, according to IMDb, right? So it says here, Julia Yorks was born in New Hope, Pennsylvania. At an early age, she began landing roles on commercials, TV shows, and films, such as Late Night with Conan O'Brien, Unbreakable, Hack, and The Happening. She also started writing at the age of 9, creating a guidebook to her hometown called The Kid's Guide to New Hope. Years later, she chronicled her experience writing the book in an edition of the popular Chicken Soup for the Soul series. Julia attended the prestigious Lawrenceville School at Northwestern University before graduating from the University of South California. I apologize. Soon after, she landed the role of Chrissy Farr in Jack Reacher. On the writing side of things, she's worked as a script coordinator before being promoted to staff writer on DreamWorks / Netflix, The Adventures of Puss in Boots. Julia was also on the staff of Trolls. How appropriate. The Beat Goes On. Wrote freelance episodes on Activision Blizzard's Skylanders Academy, as well as a yet-to-be-announced series on Hasbro, right? That says something about Julia is in development with Freeform on an original project. Don't know what that is. So, out of this whole mini biography, the only gaming thing here is Activision Blizzard's Skylanders Academy. That's it. I have no idea what Skylanders Academy is. Don't much care. But outside of that, no mention of having a love of gaming, having played video games. Nothing that states that she's a gamer or even mildly interested, right, in gaming and in why there are people who are so passionate about it, right? Even in these very turbulent times where gamers, in particular male gamers, are constantly uh, belittled and treated as a problem because, oh my god, men like sexy women. Oh my days, who thought this? So, I don't exactly see any positive intent with this project, at least from what is publicly known about it. I'd like to believe that would change, but sadly, I am too jaded and cynical to believe that's the case. It just seems like another agenda driven project, right? Coming from an agenda driven company. Again, this is from BuzzFeed Studios. And to me, it's just terribly sad because this isn't going to do anything good, in my opinion. It's not going to improve the image of women in gaming. In my opinion, it's just going to convince more guys who are tired of being blamed, right? I think for some men, if it's not happening already, they're going to act out and go, girls, girls. Because they're making things like this, right? Make being a woman in the gamer space harder because now men come in afraid of you. Thinking that instead of a potential gamer, friend, right, opponent, whatever, they now look at you and go, oh my god, it's another problem. What if she complains? What if something about this work, about something that I say to her offends her? Now all of a sudden I'm a misogynist and a sexual harasser, right? It causes people to live in fear like this, and what people do when they live in fear is that they lash out. So all this is going to do is just make women who are already in the gaming space, especially online gaming, that much more difficult to exist there. Because guys are going to come in scared and angry and apprehensive. It's not going to help women who are there. It's just going to make their lives harder. It's not going to help women who may be interested because now it's going to scare them away. It's certainly not going to help the guys who are already there. If there are any men there who have hang-ups or issues with women, in their space, if there are guys still in there going, oh, well, we are the He-Man Woman Haters Club, well then guess what? This isn't going to change their minds about women in the gamer space. So really, BuzzFeed Studios, what are you accomplishing with this? What is your goal, besides just cause more strife and more division? And at least from my point of view, completely misrepresent what it's like to be a woman in the gaming space, to be the one girl in a group of boys playing video games. Maybe you guys should have actually reached out. Maybe you guys should have reached out to someone and asked them. Ask a woman who has been living in loving video games, who's been in the gamer space, who's used to being the one girl in a room of dudes, what it's like to be the one girl in a room of dudes. Maybe, just maybe, it's not quite what you think it is. Maybe it's not as oppressive as you think it is. But then again, if you ask someone what it's like, you might not get the answer you want. So maybe that's why you didn't ask anyone what it's like. You didn't ask any women what it's like to be a woman in the gamer space. Just a thought. Maybe you didn't want your own preconceptions and notions about how men and women interact in the gaming space challenged. Maybe, just maybe, you have a divisive agenda. But nah, couldn't be that. I mean, it's not like BuzzFeed would ever lie to us about anything, or that they would create something with a very obvious and anti-male agenda. That would never happen. But anyway, that's the video. I know I've gone on at length about this. Thank you all so much. And also, I have reached 500 subscribers. Yay! Thank you all so much. Especially, well, thank you all. Right, whether you have this is your first video, or this is your 100th or 200th video. Thank you so much for the views, the comments, the subscriptions. Right, first 500, then 1,000, then the world. But we'll see what happens. I know that the general rule is that you're supposed to commemorate when you get to 500 or 1,000 or something, but I'm not quite sure what to do yet, or if I'm going to do anything yet to celebrate. I don't know. I'll try to let people know if I do. But anyway, regardless of what I do or don't do, right, this 500 doesn't happen without you guys watching, viewing, subscribing, enjoying the content. So thank you all again so much, and I will see you in the next one. Have a good day or night wherever you are.